The sense. I have something to tell you about.
Tell me about it.
Our music teacher asked us to familiarize all the different composers
Mhm.
from different periods. Well, I don't really give a damn about them, and I'm really not interested in those kind of things because they simply do not pique my interest.
Girl, you've got nothing to do with it. You just really need to do it because your teacher asked you to.
So, are you really saying that I have to do whatever my teacher said and I have to familiarize all the different composers from different periods?
Well, if it's really needed, then I have a composer in mind named Frederick Chopin, and I can tell you more about his life and famous works.
Oh, I would love to hear that.
Okay?
Yeah. Gay.
Frederick Chopin was a composer and pianist of Romantic era who was Polish and French descent. He was born on March 1st, 1810 in Alazzola, Wola, Duchy of Versa, and passed away on October 17, 1849 in Paris, France. Chopin is well known for his solo composition and piano concertos. Chopin exclusively wrote piano works, many of which were brief, but because of his extremely fine imagination and precise artistry, he is recognized as one of the music's finest tones poets.
Chopin has a few famous works, and here are some examples. Frederick Chopin, Piano Sonata Number 2 and B minor, Op. 35, is a four-movement sonata for piano. Chopin finished her works a year before it was published in 1840. While residing in George Sand's manor in Nohant, about 250 kilometers south of Paris. Piano Concerto Number 1 and E minor Op. 11 in 1830 when he was 20 years old. It was initially played on October 11 that year at the Theater Narodowy in Warsaw, Poland as a part of the composer's farewell concerts being departing Poland. Ballad Number 1 in G minor, Op. 23. When Frederick Chopin was 20 years old, he wrote a piano concerto Number 1 in E minor, Op. 11. It was first performed on October 11. That year in Warsaw Theater Narodowy as a part of composer's farewell concerts before leaving Poland.
Go. The Ballad Number 1 in G minor, Op. 23, is a ballad for solo piano by Frederick Chopin. Completed in 1835, it is one of Chopin's greatest work and his most popular one. In 1836, Robert Schumann wrote that it is his favorite among all his works. It also implied that the ballad had a majestic aura, ending in a dissonant left-hand chord D, G, and E that is not resolved until later on in the piece.
Time ever in Paris. Once it was warmly received.
Yeah,
The
but
following
there's
day,
James.
Francois
So there's
Joseph
trouble.
Francis stated
Ah, galimot
La
ako.
revenue, the La Revue musical that there is spirit in these melodies.
Ah, namatay na si Frederick
There
Chopin.
is fantasy in these
Ano rin
songs.
kamat yan Frederick
And
Chopin din?
everywhere there is originality.
Poison?
Opinions of the weight of the concerto vary. At the Salle Pleyel, Chopin performed his first concerto ever in Paris. Once more, it was warmly received. The following day, Francois Joseph stated in the La Revue musicale that there is spirit in these melodies, that there is fantasy in these passages, and everywhere there is originality. Opinions of the concerto vary. Some critics believe that the orchestral support is dry and uninteresting as written, such as James Huneker, who stated in Chopin, the man and his music, that it was not Chopin at his very best. However, many other believes that the orchestral accompaniment was purposefully created to blend in with the piano sounds and that the harmony's complexity was purposefully constructed by the arrangement's simplicity. The orchestral writing has been compared to the Fumel's concertos since it supports the pianos rather than adding drama.
Chopin's well-known Funeral March, which was written at least 2 years before the rest of the piece and has remained by itself. One of Chopin's most well-known compositions is the third movement of Piano Sonata No. 2. The Piano Sonata No. 2 contains references and memories of J.S. Bach and Ludwig van Beethoven. The third movement of Beethoven's Piano Sonata No. 12 also features a funeral march. Depending on whether the repetition of first movement's expositions is observed, a performance of Chopin's second sonata typically lasts between 21 and 25 minutes, while the Piano Sonata No. 2 was immediately popular with the general public. First reviews from critics were less favorable. A critic made by Robert Schumann and the others that Chopin could not quite handle the sonata form and that the composition was structurally subpar did not hold up over time. Numerous pianists have recorded the piece and it is frequently scheduled in pianist recitals and competitions.
Chopin could not have been taught more effectively by anybody else, because despite his insistence on traditional education, Elners, a romantically inclined composer, knew that Chopin's unique imagination could never be constrained by just a simple academic standards. Before he attracted Elsner's attention, Chopin was interested in folk music of rural Poland and had gained impressions, which eventually gave his compositions a distinctive national flavor.